It's time for the HabNormals podcast. All Habs, all the time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to HabNormals. I'm Rick, one of your co-hosts, and that over there is Matt. And so we're going to we'll mention this right off because we're introducing each other. Harry Rice has left the podcast to pursue his own channel. As you all know, Harry Rice Hockey. He's off to his own pursuits. It was kind of sudden, but amicable. And so check him out over there if you want to see Harry Rice. But it's just going to be just Matt and myself right now. So we're going to talk today about, obviously, training camps open today. There's no on-ice stuff that I know of for the Habs anyway. But there is some on-ice news on one team out there that we'll talk about. Let's see. We're going to talk at the end of the show about Coach Marty and the power play. We are going to give our opinions on the Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins thing that's going on. Swayman holding out for now, not in camp and unsigned by the Bruins. And the reason why on a Habs podcast is because Bruins are one of our big rivals, obviously our biggest, other than, for me, Toronto. And I think it's newsworthy because, if they don't have Swayman, the longer that is, that's going to affect the standings in the Atlantic Division and the Eastern Conference, I think. So we're going to talk about that. We have just a little bit, Rob Ramage just updating us on what's going on with Ivan Demidov. And Chris Wideman retired. So, and this was not unexpected, right, Matt? I mean, there was nobody.
No, I mean, I know he'd been dealing with the neck. I want to say that with his back. He'd been dealing with an injury for a last 2 years.
His back,
his back. Yeah, his back was just kind of gone.
But it was really sudden because he was like, I forget what he was. He did something, and then he's out for the season. That was at the training camp. He went to the golf tournament last year. Remember, he was at the golf tournament, and then 2 days later, out for the season. So we still don't know what exactly it is.
Yeah, I mean, it could just, I don't know. It could be some sort of, maybe a disc issue. I don't know. I mean, it could be a bunch of different things.
It's the back. You never know. And you know what? A hockey player without a strong back, it's same, for a golfer. If your back is still good, you're not going to golf well. Right. It's tough on the back and everything, and hockey is as well. And one of the reasons why, when you're golfing, if you know what you're doing, you're kind of always, you're in like sitting on the edge of a bar stool. Mm-hmm. Right, so your back is kind of awkward. Well, skating is very similar, right? And you're kind of in a bit of the same position when you're skating, and it's very hard on the back, especially when you take hits. The surprise for me with Wideman, only played 6 NHL seasons.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Until I saw it showed he only played 291 games. I was like, wow, I thought he played more.
Yeah, he was in KHL at one point or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think something like that. Anyway, so Chris Wideman retires. How old is he? Do you know? I don't know offhand.
32, 33?
Right. Okay. That's where I thought. He's in his early 30s. So it's not like he's really old. It's just the back injury. So Chris Wideman, 34. Hey, listen, thanks for your service as a Hab. Definitely the time he was here, he filled the niche that the Habs were looking for.
He had some pretty good games on the ice. I think for the most part, he was sort of average, but
stood up for himself and for his teammates. That's one thing I will say about Chris Wideman that was impressive, was the guy would stand up for his teammates, and it surprised me.
He's a great leader.
No wonder they loved him.
Yeah, I mean, in the locker room, I mean, he was one of the most loved guys there.
He's a stand-up guy.
As a veteran presence, not only, and again, I think it's him being a veteran, kind of bringing the young guys along. And I know he kind of set up a lot of nights out for the guys. I kind of got that from a video that the Habs released. But
yeah,
Yeah, no, by all accounts, I mean, just a great guy, great leader in the locker room, and he's very well loved by everybody. And I think he made an impact on the maturity of a lot of the young players in that locker room. And I think we'll continue to see that as they get older. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Chris Wideman gets offered a job or somewhere in development. I don't know. Who knows? But
yeah,
probably not. But again, I think he's still someone that'll probably stick around the team.
He could still work for the team in some capacity. I don't see it as like a Paul Byron.
Right.
Thing. I don't see it. Honestly, I don't. Why? Wideman didn't really stand out. He didn't have any of that skill that stood out. I don't know how much of the development of a development guy he would be. Honestly, it doesn't mean I think I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. I just don't see that. But it's somewhere in the organization. I could see him.
I think so, and like you said, he always kind of stuck up for his teammates, and I think the one thing you can, you'll never be able to question is his heart. I thought, every time he was on the ice, he worked very hard. He always gave that effort, right?
Yeah, yeah, he did.
And
his talent level wasn't there.
I think even as like a mentor, even to like the young kids, actually, something like that.
You hit on something that I was just thinking after I said I don't know where, but you know what? On the development side, part of development is helping the young kids that come into the organization find a place to live and how to do this and how to do that. Yeah. I could see Chris Wideman being that type of a guy for them. Makes sense. Actually, they do have a staff for that. I can see him because we already know, like you said, right? He arranged the outings.
Yeah, no, I mean he helped most, if not all, of the young kids out. I mean, I know Caulfield and Suzuki especially.
Right. So so that makes sense. I could see him doing that because that is part of their
always
development.
Kind of the first to organize team outings and always made sure everyone was doing all right. Like I said, by all accounts, great guy, really great guy to be around. Actually, great locker room guy.
It didn't. You might not know this, but Ray Jahul, before he was the horrible GM, I believe his job with either the Alumni Association or with the Habs was basically doing that, organizing those kind of events. Because he worked for Molson at the same time. And I think, if I remember correctly, he kind of did that.
I'm pretty sure if you worked for the Habs, you worked for Molson.
Yeah, well, but this was back in the day.
By default.
No, but this is back in the day. But I think that's the kind of job I could see Wideman going, like having with the organization.
No, for sure. Forward. For sure.
All right, let's move on to, you know what, let's talk about, let's do this Rob Ramage thing before we get to the training camps. Because it's just a quick thing here. So this is from Rob Ramage. He's the Habs Director of Player Development. And if you're an old-timer like me, not the best defenseman out there, but a long-time NHL defenseman, I think mostly with Philadelphia, and then at the end of his career with Montreal. He didn't play much with Montreal, though. He was damaged goods when we got him. So he says this. Ivan Demidov, actually been in contact with our training staff, the strength and conditioning guys, Dale and Steph, on a regular basis. He's another guy who's really keen early in his relationship with us. He's very hungry. Nick Bobrov obviously has a lot of communication with his coach, Roman Rottenberg, who you can't really believe anything he says, though, Roman Rottenberg. And what's going on in Russia. We do Zoom calls. He speaks decent English, which we knew that. Demidov had learned English. Michkov, if you want to compare, because I'm only saying Michkov because everyone compares them, so don't take anything from that here. Michkov is learning English now, where Demidov, I remember when he came over for the combine, his English was decent, and he had spent
even after the draft too. It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
like
he had spent a year.
I could tell what he was saying
because he had spent the previous year taking English classes.
Yeah, I think he took French too, right? I'm pretty sure he can speak decent
yes, French. And French. His French not as good as his English, but he's going to learn both. There's no doubt he'll speak both when he's here, which is, another sign of character. And I don't think every player that comes here has to learn French, but it's not a bad thing. If you're a player that you figure, and Demidov probably will be here for a long time, right? you're going to spend 5-10 years with optimization. It's probably just for you to walk around town and do things. Behooves you to learn French.
Right. No, I mean, I think you're exactly right.
So a little update there on Demidov. I know everybody is looking forward to that. From what I gather, he's found his footing with SKA, and I think he'll be fine there, getting ice time and developing. And I don't think it'll be a problem because they needed that offense that he provides that creativity and stuff.
Yeah,
they kind of held out to not have him, but they couldn't. They weren't doing well, and they couldn't help it. I guess they put him in the lineup in a solid role, and he produced, and is going to produce because he's good. And anybody wondering how is Demidov doing in the KHL so far against men? Looking good. Looking good.
Yeah, let me.
And I'll tell you what. Right now, if they keep him with Kuznetsov on one of the top 6, like the top 2 lines, he's gonna, in my opinion, he'll get at least what Michkov did last year. Now Michkov was on a shitty team, so don't take anything at this. I think he'll do better as far as numbers go. I do. Michkov was on a shitty team. He didn't have a lot of help over there. His numbers would have been better if he had better help around him. So I'll give them that. But I'm just saying, because I'm not really comparing the two, and you can't until they're both in the league for a few years anyway. You can't really. So
right.
But for Alex,
he's got a goal and an assist in 5 games played.
There you go. But for Alex, we're just gonna say that Demidov's way better than Michkov.
I mean, Demidov made the SKA's roster. Michkov had to get loaned out, so.
Yeah, but I mean, unfair to say because they had the option with Michkov. Because you can't in the last year of your contract, their rules.
Right? No, I get that.
So they didn't have the option with Demidov.
No, but still, I mean, Roddenberry could have been a real rotten asshole and just put him in the minor leagues, but he kept him on SKA.
Yeah, because they needed the help. I mean, at some point, he has to also answer to we need to win, and they weren't. They were doing bad, and they weren't. They didn't have a home ice goal. Demidov got the first one for them. So I think he just had to bend to what he didn't want to do and play the kid. And, on Demidov's side, he took the attitude they gave him and didn't complain and instead just worked his ass off to impress the coach, show him what he could do, and get the opportunity. And that's what he did. And that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a kid that's all mopey. I'm on the 4th line, So
like Flyers prospects?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a good sign from Demidov that, we've got a character kid there.
No, without a doubt.
So, yeah. All right, let's talk about training camp opened. So, rookie camp opened last week. Rookie showcase happened this weekend that passed. And now main camps are open as of today. As far as I know, Montreal's not on the ice today, but I did see their schedule. They do on-ice training right up until Monday when they host the Flyers for the first preseason game. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Before we get into the Habs, I want to talk about this first because I just said there's no on-ice stuff in the first day yet in Buffalo. Don't know what happened over there, but they were on ice and they had 2 players go down and 2 important players go down.
Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin both injured today.
Yeah.
Within 10, 15 minutes, I think you're getting on the ice.
Yeah, I saw one announcement and then, there was the other one, very quickly. So the Dahlin one, we were talking about this before we started to record.
Sounds like it might have been non-contact. It sounds like he was just skating around. I don't know. Something happened.
So he pulled something. He twisted something. He had a previous injury that he thought was okay and wasn't. It's hard to tell with Dahlin. But you lose Rasmus Dahlin for any length of time, and that's gonna hurt. And then like you said, 15, 20, half hour later, no more than that. Definitely no more than a half hour later. Peyton Krebs apparently hit Tage Thompson somehow and injured. Tage Thompson went back to the bench, laboring in pain. So we don't know. I don't know any more than that. Do you know? Was there any updates on that at all?
Like we kind of talked about before we came on air, like we don't know if they were checking. I find that hard to believe that you're going to have them all in full contact jerseys the first day of training camp.
Can't be.
My guess is it might have been like an accidental collision or something.
Yeah, it has to be an accident.
But again, I mean, like you said, I mean, losing Dahlin by himself is for any length of time is monumental. And then you lose your best forward.
Yeah, they were counting on
15 minutes later
to make that step forward this year. They're going to need Tage Thompson to have a better season than last season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, right? So what I say to that is Montreal better have kept Kirby Dach off the ice today.
Wrap him in friggin' bubble. Put him in one of those bubbles.
You hear me? Yeah.
Put him in one of those giant bubbles so he just bounces around. If he falls, he just poof right back up.
Yeah, that's funny. So anyway, so that's on Buffalo's side. So there's not a lot to talk about out of Habs camp today because I didn't hear anything. Did you hear like any news out of camp today?
Not really. I think today was just sort of kind of par for the course.
It's usually very
measurements, height, weight, stuff like that. Maybe some workouts here and there. Like they probably had them on the bikes and whatnot, seeing where they're at, like fitness wise.
Testing, testing.
The strength and conditioning guys are in there, seeing where guys are at.
They do physicals, medical, and fitness testing, and video work, and just the stuff to get ready for tomorrow, which is when you're seeing this on Thursday, where they'll be on ice and doing stuff on ice, working out every day on ice from what I saw in the schedule leading up to that first preseason game, which will, by the way, I'm not going to speak for him. I'll be doing the first preseason game.
I'll be there.
It depends. You might not be for the whole show because it's a Monday and we may be doing pucking around.
Oh, true.
So you might be on pucking around and miss the beginning of the game. True. Yeah,
forgot about that.
Yeah, but I'll be doing the game.
Regular season though, we're both on games. They can. Because I don't want to skip games during the
regular season. One of us has to be over there. Okay, well, but yeah, okay, we'll see how that goes though.
Okay, true. That's why I said Monday we can
big talk over there. Big talk over there. Let's see how he does. There are 7 or 8 Monday games Habs have, and I counted. Why did I count? Because of Amazon Prime having all Monday games. I guess I should. If you don't know this, if you want to watch a Monday game all through the season, and that's any Monday game. If a team is playing on Monday, you're not seeing it in Canada anywhere but Amazon Prime. It's not the same. I don't believe in the States. They're the States. Matt says it's, as far as he knows, it's not the same. But for me, who has Sportsnet Plus for the games, I can't get them on Mondays. It's been announced on Sportsnet. So if you're like me in Canada, remember that. You got to have Amazon to get them. So there's 7, I think, in one preseason Monday games. I think that's 8. So that's 7 podcasts that one of us can't be on anyway. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's called the Pucking Around Podcast, and it's on our other channel. The link is in the description of all the videos on Talking Habs. Don't Puck with Media. And every Tuesday comes out every Tuesday during the season. And that is an NHL podcast. So there's no specific team. We cover the NHL. And
we're the handsome ones.
And well, that's not saying much for those guys. So we're 5 of us though over there, and we have a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of joking around, and check it out. You might like it. All right. So, excuse me. Without, I don't have much to add on training camps, to be very honest with you.
Well, there is one notable admission from a certain team's training camp in the Atlantic.
Well, we're going to get to that.
And just like that, we segue.
Yeah, well, that's next. That's right. So that is next. So what is he talking about? We're going to be off the subject of the Habs, sort of, not totally, completely, but I think it affects Montreal and every other team in the Atlantic. But Bruins goalie Jeremy Swayman, who everyone expected, the announcement today was that he was going to have signed a contract, either like a bridge deal or a full 8-year deal. And that's not what happened. Bruins had called a press conference, and GM Sweeney was not a happy camper in announcing that
you could
Swayman,
tell the way he was talking. He was aggravated about
he was
something.
aggravated.
I think something happened the last 24 hours.
Well, let's do the whole thing. We'll give that opinion. So they called a press conference, everyone expecting to announce this, and he came out and announced not only that they hadn't signed Sweeney yet, but Swayman, excuse me, Swayman would not be in training camp until
John Sweeney's coming out of retirement. They're in a lot more trouble than we thought.
A lot more trouble. And Swayman would not join in camp until he has a signed contract. And then he went on to say, amazingly, and I don't know if this is what I have, that it might be till December 1st. Is that the one I have here?
Optimistic they'll get it done eventually. Yeah.
No, that's not the one. But
no, he did. He said he's optimistic that they'll have him signed before December 1st, which, if I'm a Bruins fan, I'm going, it doesn't sound good. That sounds like
if you're not saying, at this point, if he's not saying by the end of training camp, something's wrong. If he's saying I'm optimistic by December 1st,
which is the deadline for those who don't know, that is the deadline to sign if you're an RFA. Otherwise, you cannot play.
The guy can't play the rest of the season. So, but seriously, it's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? December 1st? You're saying that now? Training camp just opened? Something is wrong. So, give your theory that you were going to say when I cut you off before.
Yeah, from what I was sort of able to gather kind of yesterday and yesterday evening, kind of talking to a few different people around the Bruins that I know, it sounded like the I can't even think of the word. The consensus was that, the press conference was going to be to announce the contract. It sounded like things that kind of were heading that way. They'd had kind of positive talks within the last week, even a little longer. And my guess is something happened between
announcing the press conference and
the conference itself, where something
happened.
Somewhere there was a disagreement, whether that had been on
someone changed their mind,
money,
somewhere.
on the term, on
someone changed their mind.
I'm not sure.
And I have a theory, but remember, it's a theory. I have absolutely no idea if I'm right, so don't come at me on that. Bruins, a notoriously cheap organization, paying their players. Whatever number they agreed on, whoever actually has to pay it out or whatever, or final decision, said no last minute.
It could have been that, maybe there could have been, I don't know, maybe like a verbal sort of, all right, this looks good. Well, one last talk about it. I don't know, maybe something like that. And then, I don't know, Swayman and his agent, someone said, yeah, this isn't going to cut it, actually. I don't know. And you do have a point there. Notoriously the Bruins have been pretty cheap. I mean, obviously, you can point it like McAvoy obviously got a good extension, and Pasternak obviously. But yeah, I think for the most part, besides those two guys, they kind of have been cheaper, and I think I don't know, maybe they look at Swayman as sort of
maybe the team got cold feet on whatever they had.
Maybe they look at him and go, "Well, you've only been a tandem goalie. You haven't been a starter.
Right,
so
that's
we're
what I
not
mean,
paying
right?
you starter money." Where
right,
as everybody else, fans, Swayman, his agent, have seen what he's done the last few seasons and have said, "Well, no, he actually very much deserves starter money." I think I don't think it's crazy to say like if he were to be on the open market, he'd get starter money somewhere. Like I mean, he is that.
Oh
good.
yeah.
Like
listen, there's a team or two in the league that would give him the 10.
Oh yeah.
I have no doubt about that. There's a team or two that would give him the 10 million to get him away from there. So he'd get it. So yeah, I have a feeling it's the money. The money was tentatively agreed upon, and then he had to run it upstairs. And I think up there it went, no, that's too much. We're not giving him that. Like, I think that's what happened.
Or, it could have been
of course
something, because here's kind of the other thing that I should have thought about. I didn't really think about it for a couple weeks ago until I kind of realized that Swayman's 25. If the Bruins were to sign him to a longer term deal,
8 years,
they're gonna have to pay for a lot of his UFA years, which means you're gonna have to overpay.
Yeah.
And maybe they were tentatively agreed on a deal like that, and maybe he ran it up to his agent. His agent said, "Well, his 4 or 5 of your UFA years gone, and they're only paying you this. Like, we got to get a little, something like that because
could be."
Again,
and the cap going up. We know the cap's going up now.
He's 25, so he's a free. When he's 26, he's a UFA. So you're basically paying. You're only getting basically one RFA year. Like, I don't know if you want to call it that. But basically, 1 year under team control, and then you're whatever the rest of the length of the deal is. You're paying for UFA years, where again the cap's going up. He could, potentially, should he hit the open market, could get a lot more money. So yeah, you'd have to overpay. And again, I don't know, I don't think the Bruins are in, are that, I don't know if they really see it that way.
There's only 2 $10 million goalies in the league ever, right? That is Bobrovsky and Carey Price.
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying that he deserves $10 million.
No, but I could see the Bruins not balking at paying that. I could see it. Yeah. Or listen, the other way around. They tentatively agreed to a lower money and then changed their mind and said, "No, we're changed our mind. It's got to be this." Something like that happened because it doesn't make any sense. Or what other Bruins thought the deal was done and jumped the gun a little bit by setting up the press conference, and something changed that they didn't expect, and it threw the deal off. Something happened.
I mean, it could have been that, or they could, or like I said, again, they're gonna be paying for a lot of his UFA years.
Yeah, something happened with money.
So maybe say they offered him maybe 8x8, and his agent said, "Well, listen, the cap's going up. You're a year away from UFA. We should be asking for maybe 8.5, right? Maybe 8 3/4. Say, listen, you're also buying X amount of years of my UFA.
Yeah, something happened
where I know I could probably get that or even more on the open market.
Yeah.
And maybe the Bruins said no, and then maybe they came back with that and they said no, we're sticking at this. Take it or leave. I don't know.
Something happened though. Something happened.
Something definitely did. You could tell by the way that Don Sweeney was talking. He was aggravated about something. And again, the fact that he said he's optimistic about December 1st leads me to believe that he's probably not going to be in camp and he might even miss regular season time. I think it's a real possibility.
What happens if they had come up? Maybe the Bruins had agreed, okay, we're going to pay you 9+ or something in that area, right? Then Sidney Crosby announced his extension at 8.7. And they went, if Sidney Crosby's taking 8.7, we're not paying him 10. Something like that could have happened.
I mean, it could have been. I mean, but I think we all know the 8 point. That's his jersey number. Like,
I get it, but I mean, Crosby taking 8 points. It's the timing of it. Maybe it had some, we really won't know, honestly. Okay, let's move on
no,
to.
it's certainly possible, but I think also, right? Look at like Mason Raymond got 8 by 8.5.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, maybe
possible.
maybe
It's money.
Swayman's camp saw that.
It's money. It's right.
You know
It's
what I
money,
mean? And they
though.
said, well, listen, he's getting 8 by 8.5, and
Right.
I'm more important to you. Great. Again, Mason Raymond, very, very important player for Detroit. Very great young player.
No, but he might have
But
looked
Jeremy
at it and
Swayman's
said,
a goaltender, and if they don't have Swayman,
right,
they're in trouble.
He might have looked at that and ruminated over it and the Crosby and then said, you know what? No, I want the 10. No, I'm not taking the 8.5 or whatever they agreed on. Because unless it's signed, he doesn't, till it's signed, you can negotiate. I imagine that's what it is. Let's move on to how does this affect the Atlantic Division in the standings and maybe even in the league, like where they would finish. But how do you think that him not being in camp, and listen, we don't know this yet, right? First day of camp, he could sign tomorrow. We don't know. It doesn't sound like it, though, but he could. So if he doesn't sign, what's the effect on the team, on the division, you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, team-wise, and again, there's good leaders in that locker room, but I think certainly there'd be a morale kind of issue, maybe because again, you got guys that are looking forward to the season, looking forward to making a run at the cup, and if they're kind of walking on eggshells, or maybe not that so much, but at least they're practicing and they're going, well, obviously, they'd rally around like a guy like Corpy or Boosie, but, to not have, in my mind, a top 10, probably top 5 goalie in the league.
Yeah.
And he's in contract limbo, and you're going, well, we're still a good team, but I mean, it changes the dynamic of how they're going to have to play. I think they'd have to play a lot more defensively, because I wouldn't trust Korpisalo to stop the amount of goals that Swayman stopped. I mean, statistically, last year, I think he led the league in goals saved above average, so it's not Bruins defense was squeaky clean, and it is a great defense. But Korpisalo's not gonna put up that kind of those numbers. He's not.
Be a surprise,
He's
right?
Not that good.
Kind of a miracle if he does.
And not only that too, but think about think about some of the younger guys too that might be up for a contract in a year or two.
Numbers wise aren't the same. Think of the 2 guys they just signed. Coming into a team expecting, and now their goalie's not going to be signed. Like, yeah, it's got team morale must take a bit of a blow for sure.
Yeah, but like I said too, you got to think about some of these younger prospects trying to make the team, and again, not that guys like that would get like Swayman money, but you also got to think, well, what if like someone breaks out and they're coming up on a contract, and this is taking this long to sign your star goaltender?
That's true too.
Like, maybe some guys might be thinking like, do I really want to go through this? Like, and again, I mean, individually,
it's morale,
guys might be indifferent, but yeah,
it's morale. It's not good for morale. It definitely shouldn't be. Okay, now for the other teams in the Atlantic Division, like the Habs, I imagine expectations for where Boston is going to finish without this happening, right? So with Swayman in camp and all that stuff, is pretty high in the division, right?
Yeah, I mean, they should be a top 2 team in the division with Swayman.
With Swayman for the full year, yeah. So now Swayman doesn't sign. Let's just be conservative. He signs 1st of November. Let's say middle of November. So it's kind of like, the worry is there. Yet it's kind of early. It's like a couple of weeks on the December 1st. So how does that change the standings? The teams that would be behind them, which teams have better chance? How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean,
do they fall out of the playoffs if he?
I don't think they fall out of the playoffs, but my worry would be, again, with those goals that he saved above expected, I think a lot more of those are going to go in.
Yeah, your goal totals are going to go.
So they might be in a bit of a hole. Now, again, I don't think they'll drop out of the playoffs, but they might be in like a wild card spot area and in a dogfight there. And again, I think any of the other teams in the division, if they look and they go, well, Swayman's not signed, we're facing Korpisalo,
yeah. Well, we play them.
Like, hey, listen, we get pucks on net, we can beat this team. And again, the Bruins defense is very good. It's one of, if not the best unit in the league. But again,
get pucks on net.
You're gonna give up opportunities here and there. And Korpisalo's not Swayman. He's not that athletic. He's not that quick. So
yeah, it's not gonna. The results aren't gonna be the same.
No,
and we played them, by the way, second game of the season.
Well, they had.
And I had predicted we're gonna win, and I think if Swayman's not there, I like that.
Well, here's the thing too. Their opening game is in Florida. If they're starting Korpisalo against the Panthers.
Yeah, and then Boosie against us.
I
like that. I like that.
I like it for us.
Yeah,
I like it for us because I think Caden Primo and Montembeault are a better tandem than Corpy and Boosie. But
in the words of Matt Vogel, who's one of our co-hosts on the other channel, if you don't know, in the words of Matt Vogel, who's a Boston Bruins fan, I'm changing them to fuck the Bruins anyway. No, listen, I did predict that with Swayman there, so we'd probably see Korpisalo. I don't know when their first game is.
They played, it's the first game of the season, so it's a couple of days before we play them.
So so it could have been Swayman.
But again, and I don't think I'm biased in saying this either, but I'd take Primo and Montembeault over Korpisalo all day, every day.
Oh yeah. No, so it's saying though that we probably then would, if it was 2 days in between games, we would have seen Swayman on that second game.
Right.
I believe, right? So yeah, I like not say, but I had predicted that even that case, I predicted already that I think Montreal's going to beat them, and yeah, I like the chances a lot better if it's Korpisalo or Boosie. I just like it a lot better, although not so much Boosie. Why? We've never faced him before, and I don't like that.
And look, he's a really good goal. He's a good young goaltender. Certainly got potential there. Like, no disrespect to him at all whatsoever. I think he could be a very good goalie.
Okay, but
we haven't seen him at the NHL level. So how does he respond to facing NHL caliber opposition?
Unlikely he's like Ken Dryden when they brought him up for the last 6 games of the 1970 season, 69 or 70, and he won every game. And then the next year won the Calder. Unlikely that this guy is that. So, yeah. Now, listen, I think my prediction is
it may not be. I mean, I don't know. Depending on how camp goes, DiPietro might take that spot.
Yeah, okay, but still, it's not. None of them are Swayman. So, after saying all of this, and because it's Boston, I don't want to go too much longer on it. My prediction is they sign Swayman before camp is done.
I think so too. But
so they're going to give in to his demands somewhat.
I think so. I mean, I think it might not. I don't think it'll be like within the next few days though. Like it wouldn't shock me. I think he's signed, in the middle of kind of the preseason games. Yeah,
Korpisalo shits the bed. Boosie shits the bed. Oh, we're signing Swayman right now. Like something like that, right? That's likely how it went.
Call the Brinks truck.
Yeah, at that point, Boston all of a sudden stops being cheap.
Swayman gets up, has his boarding cut. Oh, why is there a Brinks truck outside? Why is Don Sweeney throwing money into my the front door steps?
No, I don't see what choice they have, really.
I mean, they don't. Like, I don't know how you don't get this done before the season starts. If this drags on until the into the regular season,
I'm telling you, it's not.
I'd also like if I'm Jeremy Jacobs in the ownership, I'm thinking he's got to be on the hot seat because
let's
how
put
do
it
you
this way.
trade Allmark without this in place? And now you're almost you're practically
100%
without a paddle.
And then if this takes into November to sign and take care of, Sweeney should lose his job if at the end of the season they shit the bed because of it. Then Sweeney should lose his job because, like you said,
into a hole,
Swayman should have been signed. Oh, they couldn't have signed Swayman. No, they could have signed Swayman all of last year. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
If he's got no contract now, he could have been signed at any point last year. Oh, yeah. They shit the bed right there on not signing Swayman, then trading Allmark. Huge mistake.
Yeah.
Even if they recover here, it's still a huge mistake because it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good, you know?
No, and like I said, I mean, they could very well find themselves in a hole in a wild card spot and have to dig out of that.
Or out completely. I mean, if that anything like that happens, Sweeney loses his job. I mean, if I'm the owner, yeah, you got to, because it's his fault.
And not only that, too, but like, again, you have your star goaltender without a contract, and you go out and you pay Elias Lindholm 8 years at $7.5 million, and Nikita Zadorov, I think, was it like 7x7 or something like that?
It's a lot. Just a wasted year getting them if you don't have him.
Swayman's looking at that going, well, I'm worth more than those two.
Well, that's true. And then if you don't sign
if the Bruins
Swayman,
come out and say, well, we're going to give you 4 years at $6 million, Swayman's going, shove it up your ass. What the fuck? Are you shitting me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
And then you've wasted the first year of the new guys' contracts, because if you can't get him in and your year's fucked, well, you just wasted these two guys' first years. No, it's bad management. I mean, that's bad management that you didn't lock down Swayman. And listen, I'm happy. I'm not a Bruins fan, so listen, I'm happy.
I like seeing turmoil over there. I think, honestly, too, the funniest thing that could come out of this is he signs a 1-year deal and then bolts in free agency because someone's going to offer him the kitchen sink and more.
Yeah, and the sad part
happens, Sweeney's definitely gone.
Even sadder is if he does manage to do that on time and he's in cap, all that, and then comes trade deadline time, they're in a playoff race, can't trade him.
No, and you know a team's going to offer him the bag in free agency.
Right, so you can't. You're going to lose the guy for nothing. Yeah, it's horrible management.
And I don't. Maybe that. I don't know. Maybe that's been talked about. Maybe he said, "Well, listen, if you're not willing to go this term and this money, I'll sign a 1-year deal for X amount, and then, whatever happens. And obviously, the Bruins are going, well, no, because we don't want to lose you for nothing. And he'll go, well, listen."
Well, that's it.
You pay me. You gotta pay me for the year. My UFA years. You're not going to give me where I know I could go out and get $9.5 million.
Yeah. No, it's it. Maybe that's why Sweeney was mad. Not that anything else. Just that he realized he fucked up bad. I mean, he's just mad at himself. That
I don't get how you trade Allmark without that contract in place. Because again, as good as their
overconfidence.
As good as Pasternak is.
No, it's overconfidence. They were, for some reason.
And Boosie aren't going to win you a cup. I'm sorry. Even if they make the playoffs. Again, Swayman's probably on the team by then. But again, right? Say
I don't know.
This is just a way out there scenario, but say they don't sign him, right? Korpisalo and Boosie aren't winning you a cup. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
But
that's the thing, right?
Swayman, I think, will get done. He'll play, but again,
it's not about that.
Is it going to happen during camp, or is it going to be in November? Where again, maybe they're a 500 team. But if that's the case,
it's not just that.
You're in a dogfight.
I'm telling you, it's not just that. Likely that he'll get injured or have a really bad season. I'm telling you, this is my years of experience. Sometimes I have these where I've seen it enough times in my 50-odd years of watching hockey. Players hold out and come in late, miss camp and all that, and it's horrible for them. Injury is the most, usually for a forward or a skater, injury is almost assured. that the guy's going to get injured during that season because he didn't have camp. So
yeah.
Anyway, we'll see. Excuse me.
I mean, we will. It's a very interesting story to follow. I mean, it's just crazy. Again, it was so avoidable. And again, I think there was some overconfidence there. I think there was overconfidence in Bruins management thinking he'd take whatever because he loves Boston and yada yada, and he does. I mean, he wants to play in Boston. He loves the city, but again, it's also business at the end of the day. He wants to get paid. If he sees what starting goalies are getting paid, he's going to listen. You got to pay me that. I'm not just going to take a discount to play here. Like, I know what I'm worth. My agent knows what I'm worth, and it's the agent's job.
Plus, he's an economics major, I believe. So,
yeah,
like, he knows. Yeah. He knows about money, right? All right, let's move on to our final topic here. I had a segue, and we talked too much, and I forgot what the segue was. How you like that? All right, we're going to talk about the Habs power play, essentially. Power play coach Alex Burrows, who I think we've all been kind of calling for his head, sort of, for the last 2 years at least, right? Alex Burrows. He left the team to spend more time with his family and not to pursue anything else. I believe he's still a consultant with the team. Now, last season, Coach Marty St. Louis co-coached the power play with Burrows. He put his hand in there and he kind of to see if they could make things different. And it really wasn't that different. So when the announcement we just heard yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Do you remember what you saw? Because we probably saw the same thing.
I want to say the day before, but
I want to say the day before too.
It was brief. Like, I saw it.
And it was it was on Twitter. It was this thing about Marty St. Louis. And like, if you didn't see it, you won't have heard this, I would think. But it said that he's taking over the coaching of completely of the power play. So we're finally going to get to see what he can do with it. Plus the influx of Laine Hudson to one of I think the top unit, and Patrick Laine added into the mix of the Habs top players. I mean, I would think it's going to be a better power play, but I think also it's going to be even that much better because of Coach Marty, who was a good power play player in his day. Let's see, I wrote up a video. I'm doing a short on this tomorrow. 101 goals, 317 points on the power play in his career. That's significant. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that knows how to play on the power play. And when you have that kind of a mind that Marty St. Louis has, you don't just know how to play on the power play. You know how it works. You know how to coach it. And like, he's a coach, and a good one, in my opinion. He knows how to coach the power play. So we're going to see, I think, undoubtedly, an improved power play. As a matter of fact, in my short, I'll give it away. I'm predicting a top 15 and potentially top 10 power play this year already. With just those two additions,
and not even just saying that we running it. I mean, just the talent that's going to be on it. I mean,
yeah, the talent
and one of the units. Yeah. You brought Laine in to be on one of the units. If Doc's healthy, he stays healthy. Like, I mean, we should see a vast improvement in the power play.
Yeah, I mean, top 15. I think that's fair for sure. Mm-hmm. A little bold to say top 10, but if they click the way potentially that they could. Yeah, top 10 is not out of the question.
No, I don't think so. But I'm more on the side of like probably top 15. But yeah, I if you just look at the talent that'll be on the units, and then you add in a guy like Marty St. Louis with his knowledge, I don't see how the power play
and the way he teaches. Also, the way he teaches, not just his knowledge, he gets that knowledge across, and I love that about him. Is he has this ability that players buy into what he's talking about. So that's the way he explains it, his passion. Yeah, so I believe he'll be able to pass that on to the players this year. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that power play is going to look like. No, not in the first week, by
I mean,
December,
you give the guys time to gel, play together,
yeah,
kind of get used
by
to
December,
get the swing of things.
By December, I would think we've got, we're one of the better, if not up amongst the best power plays in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's like drinking the Kool-Aid, as some people would say. I know there's still a lot of Habs haters out there, or they laugh at us because we're the laughing stock of the league, and we have been for a while, and I get that, but I don't think so anymore. I really don't. I'm not saying we're a top team in the league yet, but I don't think we're a laughing stock anymore.
No, I don't think so. Like I said, the term "sleeping giant's" been used a lot, and I really like that term as it pertains to this team, because I think it's pretty spot on. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the talent that's here. I think there's a lot of talent here, and I think there's a lot of untapped potential here, and that's what excites me the most. And I think it'll catch a lot of people off guard, right? And they'll go, "Holy jumping Christ, what did we miss?" And then, you and I and other Habs fans that have been analyzing this rebuild to this point have gone, "Well,
good hockey people." But good hockey people, they recognize the fact that there's good things going on here.
Yeah.
Look at Biz from Spitting Chicklets. I'm not the biggest Biz fan, but I mean, he's bought in.
I know Frank Saravelli's written a few stories about it too.
But Biz is like he sucks Toronto dick. You know that. And he's totally bought in on what the Habs are building here. But so the point is that, there's something going on here, and I think the power play is going to be a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, how many 1-goal games were we in last year, and we lost a lot of them. And, having a power play that is going to, put up 1 or more goals a game more than they have, it's all the difference right there.
Right. No, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, you had Laine of that group and his shooting ability. Cole Caulfield's shoulders finally 100%. So, now you had Cole Caulfield with a healthy shoulder. Like, yeah, you know.
And motivation right on his back. He's got motivation this year, especially. So I'm expecting, a lot there, Plus the fact that, and here, I think what I'm going to say is the same thing for the power play. We've got 2 top lines now. The 2 top lines are going to be really good, so you can't focus on one or the other. And the same thing kind of goes for the power play, in that the amount of good players now in the top 6, there's 2 good power play units coming. Not the one
too, right?
Sort of good one.
Matheson's probably going to quarterback one.
Yeah, I mean,
Hudson's doing the other.
We had sort of a good one last year. I mean, there was makings of a good one. Now there's one really good unit and one other, pretty good unit. So I think, the power play goals are going to go up, and we're going to win some more games that way, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So power play really, really important this year, and I love Coach Marty, and I've said it now a couple of times. He's my favorite coach, I think, in my whole time. And I love Scotty Bowman and Pat Burns, and I probably 1 or 2 I'm not thinking of. I really love the way Coach Marty coaches, and I also love the way he doesn't have to have his players hate. No, but I love the way he doesn't have to have his players hate him to motivate them.
Right.
I love the fact that he motivates them the way he does. What's that?
I said, i.e. John Tortorella.
Scotty Bowman.
Oh, yeah.
You hated Scotty Bowman. That's why you played so hard, to prove him wrong. But I don't think that works today. And so I think, as a person and a human being, I'd so much more love to have a coach like Marty St. Louis than somebody who's always, I don't want to be around him. Is he around there? I don't know. The coach is, I don't want that. I wouldn't want that. So I love Coach Marty.
Yeah, no, me too. No, like I said, I mean, I think on a personal level, I think he connects with everybody. And again, he's a great guy, and but I think having his NHL experience and and whatnot, and being able to like just the way he can impart that knowledge on his players. And again, I think, you know, his philosophy too of like, listen, you know, these are young kids, they're gonna make mistakes. Why should I punish them for that? Why should I bench so and so? Why should I, you know, berate these guys in practice when you know, we've seen him kind of, you know, pull guys to the side and just say, listen, you know, this is what you did wrong, you know, this is how we're gonna make it better. But the players aren't worried. You know, if they make a mistake, they're not worried about getting their asses chewed out.
Right. Or stuck to the bench for the, you know.
Right. You know, and that's not to say that Marty St. Louis is a pushover, because he's not by any means. I mean, he demands effort. He demands work ethic from the players. But he's not the type of coach that, again, if he sees a mistake, he's not gonna lose his mind. He's gonna work with the players on correcting those mistakes.
I say it like this: he demands a lot, and every player will tell you he does demand a lot, but he also rewards the work you put in to meet those demands.
Right.
And he'll give you that respect, and he talks to you like a human being. Even if he's mad at something you did, he talks to you like a human being. And I think with the younger generations that are in the league now, I think you have to today. I don't think you could treat them the way Scotty Bowman treated his players. I don't think you can. Mm-hmm. You won't have a success.
Well, that's why guys like Babcock aren't coaching anymore. Well, Babcock for other reasons, but
okay, he was just the evil side of that, right?
Yeah.
Scotty Bowman wasn't evil, at least.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think that works anymore. I like what he brings to the table, and it's about time he runs the power play. Mm-hmm. And I guess timing is there too, right? I don't know how much of an effect he could have when the talent's not there. But now the talent is there, and it's like there. Now the power play quarterbacks are there. It's time for this power play unit, 2 units, to produce.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the timing there. That's why he's taking it over. And I just hope it's not too much of a load. I mean, but back in the day, a coach didn't have assistants. When I was young, it was a coach. No assistant coaches. Now you got 5, 6 assistants and everything. So I'm not really worried about the workload. And apparently Marty St. Louis, his brain doesn't stop from hockey. So he's always thinking hockey, always thinking what to do and all that. So I don't think it's going to be a problem of overburdening him.
No, I agree. I agree there. You know, and like I've said, I think he's absolute. Again, everything that Hugo have done since they took over has been, I think, perfect to a T. Just about.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's perfect, but geez, these guys.
But I mean, it's about as close as you can get. I mean,
they've come fucking close.
Between the drafting, between, bringing in, setting up a development system, the coaching staff. Again, I think Marty St. Louis is the perfect coach right now. And I think even in the future, like, I think once these guys start really getting it, and
yeah.
So
honestly, it's not. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be I'll say just my rose-colored glasses didn't get darker. But I really think for coaches of the future and the younger kids today, Marty St. Louis is like the quintessential kind of coach you're going to need.
Right.
To get for success, to get the most out of your players. I don't really think it's one of the reasons why I thought Lindy Ruff was a weird hire for Buffalo, even though he was a Buffalo coach for many years. I just think that old school coach, I don't know that there's a lot of room in the NHL anymore for them. It's just a natural progression.
I tend to agree. I do tend to agree.
It's a natural progression of time, right? Things have to change.
Right.
Things change. The kids change. Coaches have to change too. And I just think that he's the kind of coach you want today.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. And like I said, I mean, you watch any of the players' interviews, any of like little videos they do on their YouTube channel, like they
love him, and
they jump on a grave for him. Like they absolutely love him.
Right.
They love his coaching. They love playing for him.
And so do players elsewhere see that and go, "Hey,
well,
that's a
Laine said
destination."
it right in his press conference. He said,
Laine said it, and
I'm
been saying
excited
it.
to play for Marty St. Louis. I want to be here and I want to learn under him.
I've been saying this for a while. People think I'm nuts for a while saying that. When Montreal's a winning team, players want to come here. They're going to want to come here for that and for the coach. You'll see, mark my words, and Laine said it. It's one of the reasons why he wanted this trade was he wanted to come play for Marty St. Louis. All right, let's move on to one last thing, and it's a good segue because we were talking about this before we started recording. Patrik Laine. I think I haven't really seen a lot of people say they think he'll be shitty here. But I said this to you, and I want to make this official, I guess, here. I think Patrik Laine will not only be a good player here, but he's going to be the Patrik Laine that I remember when he first came out and all the raves and all this stuff and more. He's not going to have lost a step in his game. What his problems were not his game. And you can look at his numbers, except for last year, his numbers weren't that bad, right? Because he was still a point
per game guy. So the talent's always been there.
It's been there. I don't think he's lost a step. He's 26. He hasn't lost anything. The mental side was the problem, and he's got that worked out. And I think the results are going to be here. And Patrik Laine is going to be everything and more than he was before. I think that's my prediction.
I mean, from kind of reading excerpts of the different kind of pressers. Now the camp's underway. What like I say, what he said in the press conference when he after the trade, and how excited he was to play for Coach Marty and how much better he felt and how excited he was to come to this organization and do everything he can to win with this organization. It certainly sounds, from a mental standpoint that, I think he's in a much better place. And, listen to kind of what Marty said about him I think it was yesterday, the day before about, he's excited to coach him and Marty believes that Laine is going to be back to, like you said, the Laine that, in Winnipeg when he first broke into the league, I think. And
more because he's older and he knows the game better and all that. Yeah.
100%. And I think, like I said, for weeks, even weeks before the trade happened, when rumors about Laine, when it came out that, Laine was going to be traded.
Right.
I didn't know how it would work out and whatnot, money, but I'd always said that if I had to pick a team, and again, not being biased whatsoever at all, Montreal was probably the best landing spot for him.
Yeah, he needs a soft landing spot.
The coaching, what the organization has in place now, not only in like player development, but on the mental side. This was a spot where he could come in and he would be taken care of, and he wouldn't have to worry about, talking about, whatever he had to talk about. These guys that are here in this organization are all about, making sure that the players are taken care of. They're all about, from a human level, understanding their needs and being able to make them the best players that they can be. And again, I think Marty St. Louis as a coach is the perfect coach for that. Because I think he's got that human side, nailed down. He talks, like I said, he talks to his players from a human level, so he understands that.
Same thing with the GM. But, something that I remember from back when he was the rumors were first starting to come out about him being traded from Winnipeg or wanting to be out of Winnipeg. One of the things that was said that he wanted to go to one of these huge markets. Right. He wanted to play in a really big city where hockey was super important, where the pressure was there and all that. And I remember that him saying that, and now he's repeating that. I mean, this is where he wanted to be, like a place like this where hockey matters, where the people are passionate all the time. Where
I'm playing in one of, if not like the biggest hockey market in the league.
He also said, even if you have a bad game and the fans come down on you, he says, I get that, and I'm all for that because it pushes you to win. Like, he said all the right things. And I don't think he's lying, because I remember back then when they talked about it, I thought he's just a hot dog that just wants a lot of adulation and all that. I don't think that is what it is. He does want the adulation. They all have egos, of course. He wants to play where it means something more than the average city. He wants to play where hockey fucking means something. And Montreal is that city.
He wants to play where, if he makes a name for himself, he's going to be remembered for the rest of the time. Right?
Oh, he wins a cup here.
Like we talked about, if he wins a cup at Montreal, he's a god.
He's a god here in Montreal. Everybody who's won a cup, even the minor players, are still remembered and loved in Montreal. So, yeah, you win a cup here. Montreal's the ultimate place to win in hockey. It's the ultimate place to win in hockey. You'll forever be remembered in Montreal.
Right, and not only from that perspective, but like, when you look up at the rafters of the Bell Center and you look up at that elite company you're in,
the Ring of Honor.
Well, the Ring of Honor, but also at the retirement.
And the rafters, but both of them. Yeah, you look up everywhere.
And you look at, I'm an elite company just wearing this sweater. If I win, and I can say I'm with those guys, and I've said I've won a cup with the Montreal Canadiens.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, I've had a fabulous career.
And, for a guy that's what he's wanted, then now he finally gets that at 26 going into his prime, where he's feeling mentally right, probably for the first time in a long time. And he's going to be surrounded by some really good talent. Yeah.
And a coach that's going to treat him, as a human being and treat him with respect.
Yeah. Great. I got one more item, actually, I just thought of that I want to talk about. Yaroslav Askarov was recently asked for a trade from Nashville and got moved to San Jose. Montreal was rumored to be in one of the three teams, I think, that were trying to get Askarov. And we questioned, why. It didn't make any sense. I don't have that answer, but I have the answer to why they turned down the deal in the end. San Jose wanted Fowler. That just came out. I saw that today. They wanted Jacob Fowler. Canadians said, "Yep, nope, bye,
nope."
Nice talking to you.
Nope. No, look, and look, they're right to do so. And I know Fowler's still in college, but I think
he's got more upside.
I think he does. And again, I've watched him in person. I've seen the things that he can do. It's freaky how athletic and how good he is at such a young age. And he's only going to get better.
When you see the real deal,
it's
it, and that's the real deal.
And like I said, after the first time I watched him, and after when I watched him in the Hockey East final at the Garden, he legitimately looks like somebody took Carey Price's DNA and Patrick Waugh's DNA, squished it together in a lab, and then that was Jacob Fowler. He's got all the mannerisms of both of those goalies in him. I mean, he's got the puck playing ability, the positioning, and the reactions of Price, with the mentality, and I mean, again, even still, the mentality of YN Price. He just eats pressure for breakfast. It doesn't bother him.
He's got all aspects of what you need to be a very successful goalie in this league.
Yeah,
he's got all the attributes that you need. So I don't see how. The only thing I think you can say is he's a little just a hair on the short side.
He's 6'1". I think he's 6'2", 1.5, maybe 6'2".
Something like that. He's just a hair under.
Which is what Carey Price, I think, was 6'2". So again,
I think
we literally, when you say a hair, you literally mean a hair.
He's just a little bit under 6'2". I mean, it's not. Listen, UC Saros is 6 feet, I think. So he's small and he's fine. So but I mean, that's really his only knock. And one of the other ones, the only other one I remember was he needed to be in better physical shape.
I think he's dropped 20 pounds since he started.
And I said, at his age
when
now,
he weighed in at camp, he was
he's fine.
I think it was 6'1.5", like 215.
I said once he gets to college where they work out a lot and he's going to take care of it there. By the time he gets to Montreal, I don't think that's going to even be
I think he
an
was
issue.
230.
He was a little bit overweight.
225, 230 when he started at BC. I think he's down to 215 now.
Yeah,
so, I mean he's gotten leaner. Like
and that's what he needs to do. Actually, I saw something about goalies. When you see some of these kids being picked, and you see these, because we saw a couple of them in this draft, string bean goalies, right? They're, you know what? Some of the most successful goalies, you don't see it because we usually see them in uniform. They're thin because it's very hard for a goalie to maintain weight during the season.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. They probably sweat off 10 like 5, 10
No,
pounds.
seriously. 10. I think it's over 10 pounds average a goalie loses during a game. So, it's really hard to maintain weight. So, yeah, the top goalies, we don't realize it, but are kind of on the slim side.
Yeah, but there are a few goalies this past draft that were like pencils.
That's why I know. I thought of that, and then I saw this thing. I don't remember where I saw it, probably somewhere on Twitter. And I thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense why I see a lot of goalies get drafted. And I go, man, that guy's got to put weight on. They're like 6'3", 140 pounds. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but just a little bit. 165, I think, was the smallest one I saw this year.
Yeah.
He was like 6'3", 165 pounds. And it's like, wow, how can he even like put all those pads on and shit and move?
Yeah.
All right. I think we came to the end.
But I mean, you can't be too thin. Because, yeah,
right.
You can't move.
You got to have muscle. You still have to have the muscle to move around. But you need the thinness is really for the agility. Right? When you're thinner like that, you're more agile. The thicker, more muscled you are like that, you're less agile in general. I think he's a little bigger than the average goalie that way, but I don't think that's the problem with him. The results are there. I don't think that's the problem.
No, I mean, I said, I've seen him in person a number of times. I'm probably going to go to a bunch of games this season too. Like I said, college hockey tickets here are dirt cheap. I paid like $20, and I'm sitting in like the lower bowl. Like it's freakish how athletic and just how good he is at only. I think he's 19.
Yeah, no,
he's freaked me out.
Real deal.
I'm watching him. I'm going, this kid is NHL ready. Like the kid is playing like an NHL goalie. He was freaking.
No, he's not though. But he's not as far off as I think most people.
But you know what I mean? Like if you watch him, you go, "Holy crap!" Like,
yeah. Well, he's far and above better than most, if not all, the goalies in college right now.
Oh, I mean, he's probably the best goalie in college hockey, right?
He's probably the best. If not, he's top 3 for sure. Top 3 goalie in college.
He's better than Trey Augustine. He's the only other one I can think of that's
right. So no, he's probably and he did win didn't he win the award for that in the?
He beat Trey Augustine. BC played Michigan State and Fowler. I think
no, but the award.
I think BC won the game like 4-1.
No, but he's the college goalie of the year or the top 10 college.
I believe so. Yeah,
something like he won that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's definitely. So you're not trading him for Askarov because that's ridiculous, and I'm sure Nashville knew it too at the time.
So what? So San Jose would have been a 3-team trade then if San Jose wanted Fowler, or did Nashville want him?
Nashville.
Okay.
Habs were dealing with Nashville. I don't know if there were 3 teams. I don't know.
You said San Jose earlier. That's why I was asking.
Oh, did I? Oh, I know. I said he went. No, he got that Askarov got traded to San Jose. I didn't say.
Yeah, but then you said when you said you figured out why the Habs said no, I think you misspoke and you said San Jose wanted Fowler. That's why
I could have. No, it was Nashville.
No, but even still, as good as Askarov is, I'm not trading Jacob.
I'm not trading Fowler for Askarov.
No.
I'm not trading Fowler for Askarov and Philip Forsberg. How's that? Why? Because if Fowler's the real deal, you're fucking yourself for a future cup if you trade him away to get a good goalie in Askarov and Philip Forsberg when you don't really need it. It'd be different if things were different. You might make, but I would not make that deal.
Yeah, if we were like the goalie was the one thing missing, and say if we we're in a position where we get Askarov and we're cup contenders.
Yep.
Different, but when we are in the rebuild and
I think
Primo is a fine tandem. Like there's no need.
But when Fowler's here, within a season of him being here, we're cup contenders. I'm not saying we're going to win a cup, although I sort of am. I want to make that prediction somewhere down the road. But I think once Fowler is here, we become cup contenders. With the players that we know are going to be here, Demidov's going to be here. I'm sure they're going to re-sign Laine. We're going to be cup contenders, my friend. Yeah. Watch and see. Watch and see. All right. We've gone way over, and we seem to always do this. So definitely, maybe we don't need a third person. So let us know in the comment section anything that we said here that you want to chastise us about or agree with us or give your opinion on it. Please do that because we touched on a number of things here. We'll be back next week. When we are back next week, we'll have had 2 preseason games under our belt. Flyers, and I don't know who are playing second. Ottawa. Flyers and Ottawa, back-to-back, 23rd and 24th. Don't forget, I'm doing those shows. Join me. We'll talk about it. We'll hang out. We'll have a lot of fun. So we'll be back next Thursday for that. And what else? That's it. I don't know. Reach out to us. Our Twitters are in the description. Everything is in the description.
Mine's in my name.
Hey?
So my Twitter's in my name.
Yeah. Because mine's in the description. Very easy. I think it's at Talking Habs. Simple. All right. Enough of that. Till next time. Thanks for joining us this week. We always appreciate having you guys watch. And we'll be back next week. Till then, stay safe out there. Peace out. And just have a great week because hockey's back, baby. Go Habs, go. Ciao, everybody.